All right, so this is going to be my recap of all of the game ones from the opening round of the 2024 NBA playoffs. I'm going to be trying to do this after every round of each games. So after game one and game two of every series, and so on. I'm going to try to do a recap of each one. Obviously, once we get later on into the postseason, not everybody's going to be at the same amount of games in their series, so it's going to be a little bit different on how I do things there. But for now, we're going to try to start and keep it after every single game for every team and make our own recap video. So starting off here with our first matchup of the weekend, we had the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Orlando Magic. The Cavs ended up winning 97 to 83 and now lead that series 1-0 right now. In this game, it was a very low scoring game. The first quarter was, the highest scoring quarter. It was 33 to 26 after that, but the rest of this game was really, really low scoring. Magic only ended up with 41 points at halftime, which is pretty low, but not even the lowest score we got all weekend. But going into the stats here, Cleveland was doing a lot better on offense than Orlando was, but still was not doing very great with that. They only shot 44% from the field and 27% on threes, but Orlando shot 33% from the field and 22% on threes. So neither team shot very well at all, but Orlando was still very significantly worse than Cleveland. Cleveland had 17 turnovers in this game, which is obviously not a great thing to see. But the main reason why Orlando did lose this game is the majority is because they didn't make shots. They were 8 of 37 from the three-point line, so they're obviously going to have to improve a lot there. And specifically, a guy like Gary Harris, who shoots an average of about 37% from the field, he was 0 for 5 this game on threes. Jalen Suggs shoots 40% from three on the season. He was 1 for 7 this game. So we kind of expect them to be getting a little bit more into rhythm here. Same with Cole Anthony, who was 0 for 4 today. You would not expect those guys to continue to shoot so poorly from the three-point line. So if they're able to kind of fix that a little bit, maybe they have a chance going forward in this series. But obviously, if they don't, they cannot continue to shoot 22% from the field as a team and expect to win a single game of this series. But for the Cavaliers, they had a lot of things going right for them. Donovan Mitchell put up 30 points efficiently. Jared Allen had 16 points and 18 boards efficiently. Garland was pretty good this game. Evan Mobley was really good this game, had a double-double there. So they were just doing a lot better. The Cavs bench was really bad. They had 14 total bench points this game. On a combined, let's see, 4 for 19 from the Cavaliers bench. So they're definitely leaning heavily on their starters. So maybe that's something that Orlando can kind of look at going forward, is to try to force more of their bench players to try to score. And Orlando's bench did not do a lot better. They had 3 bench guys who did not make a single shot. Joe Ingles was 0 for 2. Marco Fultz was 0 for 4. And Cole Anthony was 0 for 7 from the field. So, they did not do a lot better from their defense, from their bench scoring as well. But on offense, for the starters, Paolo was really good with 24 points there pretty efficiently. Franz Wagner was all right with 18 points pretty efficiently. But ultimately, they're going to have to get a lot more out of their bench as well. And as well as Jalen Suggs and Gary Harris not shooting a combined 4 for 22 from the field would definitely help them out a whole lot. So the Magic just got to do a lot better, actually putting the ball in the basket. And we're going to see, them have another chance at that tonight when they play the Cavs in game 2. Going to the next game of the weekend, it was the Timberwolves and the Phoenix Suns. This game was a pretty big blowout here. The Timberwolves ended up winning by 25 to take a 1-0 series lead. The first half of this was pretty competitive. Only a 10-point game at halftime was really good there. And in the first half, you were thinking this is going to be a pretty good game throughout the entirety. But then the Timberwolves made it a 20-point game by the end of the third quarter. And at that point, we weren't really expecting the Suns to be able to come back that much. But the Suns were decent on offense this game. A lot of it is they let up way too many offensive rebounds. And their three pointers weren't great, but you're not really too upset about it. They really just did not play amazing defense. In this game, letting up 120 points is obviously not a good look. Kevin Durant had 31 points in this game, was really good there. Booker was kind of bad with 18 points on 5 of 16 shots. Eric Gordon on the bench was 0 for 5. Their bench was atrocious this game, other than Royce O'Neal. Besides Royce O'Neal, their entire bench, when it combined, one for, or I guess two for 13 from the field for their bench, besides Royce O'Neal. So yeah, that's got to change. Grayson Allen this game was also 0 for 3, pretty much a non-factor. He was shooting 46% from the three in the regular season and was 0 for 3 on threes in this game. So that's got to change if they want to be able to, win a game here. But they just let the Timberwolves basically do anything they wanted to on offense. Anthony Edwards put up 33 points really efficiently. Karl Anthony Towns had 19 efficiently. Gobert put up 14 and 16. Nickeil Alexander-Walker was amazing in this game with 18 points, 4 threes, and 4 steals. So, they got a lot of help from their bench. They had they had over 40 bench points this game compared to Phoenix's um, uh, 18. So that's obviously a big, big factor in this series. Um, Ultimately, the Phoenix Suns are going to have to get a lot more out of their bench if they want to be able to win this series. We kind of knew that the Suns bench was pretty weak coming into the series, but this game was pretty bad. Next game of the weekend was the Knicks and Sixers. This was one of the closest games of the weekend, a 7-point game. It was actually really solid compared to the other two games that we've talked about so far. Um, you see, this game was mostly a game of just um, runs throughout the entirety. Philly was up big early, then it's still up by 9 at the end of the first quarter. Then New York ended up winning that second quarter by 21 points, held the Sixers to only 12 points in that second quarter to take a 12-point lead going into the half. And then Philly comes out in that third quarter and puts up 36 points. Um, and now has the lead. So this is a lot of game of runs in this, having a 20 plus point quarter for New York, and then Philly wins the next quarter by 15 points. Just like complete back and forth of who's hot in a certain quarter. But overall, New York Knicks were amazing from the 3-point line, which is basically what won them this game. They were 46% from the three, while Philly was only 34%. So that difference there definitely made up for the 7-point difference in this game. Both teams are pretty good otherwise. 44% from the field for Philly and 40% from New York. The Sixers were great. Joel Embiid and Maxey were amazing this game. Embiid with 29 points, Maxey 33. Kyle Lowry actually had a good 18 points with 4 threes as well. Kelly Oubre put up 5 steals in this game, so you really liked the way the Sixers played in this game. But again, their bench put up 7 total points in this game on 3 of 10 shooting, so that's not going to be winning you guys games, especially with the New York Knicks bench put up 42 points pretty efficiently as well. So that's going to be having to change. They had Miles McBride put up 21 points on 5 threes, which was amazing this game. Brunson had 22. Josh Hart put up 22. They just had plenty of scoring all around, which is good for this New York Knicks team. It's very good to see that from them, but Sixers have got to get a lot more out of their bench, and they got to hold the Knicks to less than 46% on threes if they want to have a chance of winning any games here. Well, look at the Lakers and Nuggets game. This was 11-point game here. The Nuggets winning 114 to 103 to take a 1-0 series lead there. It was a pretty close game throughout the first half. Lakers up by 8 at the end of the first, up by 3 at halftime when LeBron hit that three. Um, I believe he hit that buzzer beater three to end the first half to give them a 3-point lead there. So they did really good in this first half for the Lakers. The second half, they kind of fell apart in that third quarter. Um, they fell behind by 11 points at the end of that third quarter after leading by 3 going into it. So that's definitely not what you want to see as a Lakers fan. But as a Nuggets fan, you do feel good that you guys were able to come out of that second half doing really, really good. But the Lakers, main reason you lost this game is you shot 28% from three. That's kind of bad. You also let up 15 offensive rebounds, which is not very good at all. And you had three times the amount of turnovers that the Denver Nuggets had. So all of those are some pretty big negatives here, which kind of, makes a lot of sense why they did end up losing this game. But even then, you only lost by 11 points, so you can kind of feel good about yourself that you lost by 11 points, only shooting 28% from three, with three times the amount of turnovers, and you let up, three times the amount of offensive rebounds that you got yourself. So that's one positive for the Lakers, but another negative. Yeah, one of the negatives from the Lakers is that Anthony Davis had to play 44 minutes in this game, and they still were not able to win this game. And LeBron played 40 minutes, which was definitely not good. D'Angelo Russell was atrocious, 6 for 20 from the field, 1 for 9 from three. So basically, if they want to be able to win this series, D'Lo has to not suck. They need more than 11 bench points. Torian Prince was the only player on their bench that scored anything. They got to get, Dinwiddie and Gabe Vincent involved. No one else even shot the ball from their bench, so that's definitely a problem. They could be getting Christian Wood and Cam Reddish and stuff back potentially tonight, but that's not looking very likely. So. They're probably not going to be getting a lot from their bench tonight as well, which is definitely going to be a problem. But LeBron and AD were cooking. AD had 32 and 14 with 4 blocks. LeBron put up 27. They just cannot hold the Nuggets. Jokic put up 32 and 12. Murray had 22 with 10 assists. Porter had 19. Gordon put up 12 and 11. KCP had 12 points. Their bench was, better than the Lakers. They had, 4 different bench players score, which is good to see. DeAndre Jordan was actually really good in this game. He only played 8 minutes, but he was, put up 4 points and had a steal and a block, and his presence was just, definitely felt in his limited playing time that he got. So the Nuggets should be feeling really good about themselves. They did not play a single player over 40 minutes a game in this game, so that's definitely good to see that. Um, their guys can get a little bit more rest than the Lakers can and still afford to be winning this game. Looking at our first game here on Sunday, we had the Heat and the Celtics, so kind of went how you expected. The Celtics end up winning this game by 20. But the first half, or at least the first quarter, was very, very close. They're only down by 5 points, which is not bad at all, considering the circumstances here. They ended up being down by 15 at halftime, but still, you're not feeling like horrible at that. But then they ended up being down by 32 points going into that fourth quarter, which is obviously a problem. Being down 32 going into that fourth quarter is definitely not what you want to see. But I do think they made it back to like a 14 or 12 point game with only about 3 to 4 minutes left. So they dominated um, that that fourth quarter. The Celtics just kind of stopped shooting threes. The Celtics had 20, I think 21 3 pointers made going into that fourth quarter, and they did not hardly even shoot a single one for about 8 minutes or so, and that's how the Heat came back, nearly 20 points during that stretch. But then the Celtics ended up um, hitting another three and then coming back making a 20-point victory. So definitely feel a little bit concerned with the way the Celtics ended that game, but overall, I mean, still had a 20-point win, so you're not really too upset about that, obviously, for Boston. Miami on offense was not bad. 32% on threes is all right. 47% from the field is pretty good. Only had 9 turnovers. You're feeling good about that. Just the thing is that they got to hold the Celtics, to less than 114 points, especially less than 45% on threes on nearly 50 attempts. Celtics shot 49 threes and made 22 of them. So really, really good numbers there for Boston. Miami has to do something to prevent them from shooting all those threes. But Miami on offense, Bam put up 24 points. Hawkins had 16. DeLon right off the bench had 17, including 5 of 5 on three, which I think were all in that fourth quarter. So you'd like to see him get going a little bit earlier than that. But overall, um, you don't really feel too bad if you are the Miami Heat. Tyler Hero was not great, only 11 points. Um, and he kind of got most of those in the fourth quarter. So you'd like to see him do a little better in the first half. But ultimately, you really got to work on your defense. You got to not let Boston, do what they did Jason Tatum had a 23-point triple-double. Porzingis was amazing, 18 points, 4 of 8 from three. Jaylen Brown had 17 points. Derek White put up 20 off the bench. Sam Hauser had 12 points on 4 of 6 from three. So you gotta contain the Celtics a lot better than you did. They had 6 different guys hit double-digit points, and that's if that keeps happening every single game, the Heat have no chance of winning a game in this series. And I don't really know if they are going to win a game, especially because it got dominated throughout the majority of game one. I'm not really feeling confident for the Heat to win a single game out of this series. Our next game of Sunday was the Mavs and Clippers. So Clippers ended up winning this game 109 to 97. You would have thought that the Mavs could steal a win here on the road without Kawhi Leonard playing for the Clippers, but that did not really matter at all. The Mavericks were atrocious in the first half offensively. They were down 56 to 30 at halftime. They had 30 points at halftime in 2024. It's very, very concerning. But in the second half, they ended up scoring, over 30 points per quarter. So good to see that they found their offense going in the second half. But it's kind of, obviously not great that it took them a whole half to figure out their offense. They were down 26 at halftime, but ended up winning the second half by 14 points. So really, um, they finished the second half really, really good. They just got to do a lot better in that first half, and they actually, could have won this game. But ultimately, they only shot 39% from the field and 10 of 33 for 30% on threes, which is not good. When the Clippers shot 50% on threes and had 18 three-pointers made. So obviously, it's definitely a problem there for Dallas. Your offense was atrocious in the first half. Your defense was not good at any point in this game. Um, so you got to really do a lot better going into the next game, which, you would assume you guys can do better because you definitely showed that in the second half of this game. Luka had over 33 points. Even though it felt like he was playing pretty bad throughout the majority of this game, he still finished with 33, 13, and 6. Kyrie had over 31 points, so really good there. But after that, no one else was really contributing. PJ Washington had 11 points, but like Derek Jones was over 4. Maxi Kleber 1 for 5. Nobody else had over 6 points outside of those top three guys. Very, very concerning there if you are the Dallas Mavericks. Los Angeles Clippers. James Harden was really looking like Houston Rockets James Harden in the playoff game here. He had over 28 points with 8 assists, 6 of 11 on threes, which is really good there. Um, he took over in this first half, had over 20 points at halftime. Um, and basically put the game away at halftime because he was just doing amazing there. So was Ivica Zubac. He had 20 points and 15 boards, which is just an amazing stat line for Ivica Zubac here. So the Mavs are definitely going to have to do something differently defensively to contain Zubac here, and definitely gotta key in more on James Harden. But also Paul George was good, 22 points. Westbrook and Terrence Mann both had 13 points themselves. So they were just doing really, really good. And the Clippers, you feel really good about yourself shooting 50% from three. And definitely feel good getting a win here without Kawhi Leonard. Looking into game two, we don't really know what the status here is on Kawhi Leonard going into game two, but ultimately it's not even a big deal if he doesn't play because they just won by 12 points without him. So you're not really too concerned if he doesn't play, as long as you can go into Dallas having a 1-1 lead or 1-1 series. With Kawhi Leonard coming back in game three, you're feeling good about your odds to win. Looking into the next game here, you got the Pacers and the Bucks. Bucks won this matchup 109 to 94. They did really, really good in this game. The first half was dominated by them. They were up 69 to 42 at halftime. Damian Lillard had 35 points in the first half, only 7 points less than the entire Indiana Pacers team. That's really, really good to see. He also did not score a single point in that entire second half. He only shot like 3 more shots, I think. The Pacers were just double teaming him basically the entire game, not letting him get a single shot off that second half. So, really good game plan there for Indiana in the second half. It made a 27-point lead, collapse into only a 15-point lead towards the end. So, That's really good to see there for Indiana that you were able to make adjustments in the second half. But offensively for Indiana, you're definitely struggling. You only shot 40% from the field and 21% on three, which is, pretty atrocious if I do say so. Pascal Siakam was the only bright spot of your team. He had 36 and 13. Tyrese Halliburton only had 9 points, but he only shot 7 shots. He was efficient, 4 of 7 from the field, but he has to be shooting more than 7 shots if they want to win a single game of this series. Miles Turner was bad at 5 of 17 from the field. Aaron Nesmith was 2 of 9. TJ McConnell was 5 of 13. I don't know why TJ McConnell was shooting 13 shots in only 18 minutes played. So you would definitely like to see Tyrese Halliburton try to take over the game a little bit more. But you do feel good about Pascal Siakam's performance here in this game. But going forward, we're definitely going to have to, get Tyrese Halliburton cooking and hopefully shoot better than 20% from the three. And then you have a legit chance to win a couple games here. But again, um, you lost this game by 15 points without Giannis playing, so you definitely are a little bit concerned there. And then for Milwaukee, like I said, Dame put up 35 at halftime, and then didn't really have to do much in the second half. Chris Middleton took over in the second half, had 23 points. Bobby Portis put up 15 and 11. He was doing really good. Their bench, was kind of all spread out. So after those top three guys, no one else really was amazing, but they all did put up good numbers for themselves, and everybody shot pretty good from the field. 47% as a team and 38% on threes. Just completely outmatched Indiana in this game. Definitely feel good about that going into game two. The status for Giannis is a little bit up in the air. He's probably listed as doubtful right now for game two, but then again, you're doing pretty good in this game one, so you're not really too concerned if he doesn't play game two. And then our last game of the weekend was the Thunder and the Pelicans. This was, the closest game of the opening games, 94 to 92. One of only two games to be decided by less than 10 points. So it was a pretty underwhelming first slate of games here, considering there was just a lot of blowouts and stuff. But it was still a pretty entertaining weekend, and this game was by far the most entertaining. It was basically, um, you know, a 1 to 2 possession game throughout basically the entire of the game. I don't know if it ever got over a 10-point lead for either team, um, which is good to see that it was pretty close throughout the entire game. The Thunder here, obviously, did really good. They ended up winning. They shot 44% from the field, 31% on threes, which are not great numbers, but still better than the Pelicans, who shot 38% from the field and 28% on threes. So both teams here, were not good from shooting the ball from two or from three at all. So definitely a little bit concerning there. But you don't feel too upset because both teams were struggling. So that's not too much of a concern. Definitely would like to get both teams shooting a little bit better, but as long as these teams can rely on their defense to be holding the other team, then they're feeling pretty confident that their offense will probably come around at some point. But ultimately, yeah, this was a really good game. The Pelicans had two different guys with 20 points. TJ McCollum had 20 points, including a clutch shot towards the end of that game to make it a one possession game. Um, Trey Murphy put up 21 points on 5 of 12 threes. He was amazing in this game. Jonas Valanciunas had 13 points and 20 rebounds. They got to do something about that. OKC does. He was going to work on offense whenever he tried, and he basically got every offensive rebound that came his way. He had 9 offensive rebounds himself. Very, very concerning if you are OKC. You got to do something about that. Considering OKC had 8 total offensive rebounds and Valanciunas himself had 9. So that is basically what kept New Orleans in this game, that they got 18 offensive rebounds. They had 24 second chance points compared to the Thunder's 11 second chance points. But you do feel good about if you're the Pelicans about that. But also Brandon Ingram was atrocious this game. Only 12 points on 5 of 17 shooting. Herb Jones only had 8 points on 2 of 10 shooting. So those guys there, you definitely like to be shooting a little bit better from the field and stuff. But ultimately, you're not really feeling too bad about this. You only lost by 2 points against the number one seed in game one. So going forward, as long as you guys can shoot better than 28% from the field, or from three, I'm sorry, you're feeling good about your chances The Thunder, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander put up 28 points. He was amazing in this game. Chet Holmgren had an amazing playoff debut, especially for a rookie. 15 points and 11 boards with 5 blocks in this game. Jalen Williams had 19 points. The Thunder's bench didn't have anybody that was amazing, but they all did pretty good in their limited amount of shots that they did get. Um, Jalen Williams, the other Jalen Williams, um, put up 6 points in his 6 minutes that he played, so that was good to see from him. I thought he'd get some really good minutes, even though he only played 6 minutes in this game. Aaron Wiggins had two threes in his 15 minutes played, so feeling really good about this from a Thunder point of view. But ultimately, you are a little bit concerned that you're only able to win by 2 points here, but you still only shot 31% on threes when the team average for OKC in the regular season was much, much higher than that at 39%. They're the best three-point shooting team in the league, and they were only shooting 31% in this game. So as long as you guys are able to shoot a little bit better going forward, the Thunder are feeling pretty good about themselves. Well, yeah, ultimately, I do think they've got a pretty solid um, game ones throughout the entirety of the league. There were quite a bit of blowouts, but still some entertaining moments. And it's going to be interesting to see, um, how the game twos go. We got the Magic and Cavs tonight, Sixers and Knicks tonight, and Lakers and Nuggets tonight. So, it'll be fun to see how those games go. But yeah, thank you for watching. Make sure to come back later this week for my game two recaps. Make sure to check out my UFL videos and NFL videos as well.